Hello everyone, it's Freeman Marvel and welcome to Camp Reviews. This is the first episode covering a camp hosted by Diggy known as Pokelab. Now, what is Pokelab 2020? Well, it's a camp hosted by the person called Diggersby, who's Russian, and also in my camp. Well, at least he's in one of my camp. And it got 36 contestants, which, is impressive for a first camp. So it gotta see if it's any good, right? And that's what I'm here to see. Is Pokelab 2020 any good? Well, let's start with the positives. Firstly, the first 4 to 5 episodes actually went by really smoothly and were quite good. The vote twist is good. It's good, but also broken. Final 2 spot shouldn't be given, but I like the idea. And by far the biggest positive has to be that you tried something different. Like, it is very different from any other camp and does stuff that isn't really seen anywhere. Which, makes the camp unique, so good job there. However, that's all the positives. Let's go to some stuff that I'm more mixed about. Well, the format. This was kind of a big mixed point. The format in itself isn't bad, but well, it does encourage people to vote out, threats and keeping useless contestants. Yeah, great. However, this could have been rectified if there were more power items than just the golden bunny, which is the golden bunny. I'm gonna talk about that later. The videos, they're fine. No camp plot, but that's not really needed, so it's a fine videos with some exceptions, but they're fine. 13 months for a camp with 36 contestants isn't bad. The videos help coming out quickly did help with this though, but overall I don't think it took an over excessive amount of time. Now, the finale is also just fine. I don't hate it, I don't like it, it's good enough. Except for Mini Challenge G, but that's for later. Also, because D doesn't want to post the finale video, Jim won. Yeah, I'm just gonna spoil the results there. Deal with it. Now, those are all the mixed points. Now, let's go into the stuff that I find negative about this camp. Starting with random dumb nitpicks. This is probably not the very serious part. The team changes like 3 times randomly. That's dumb. Like, there was no good foreshadowing there, actually. There's random stories in some of the videos after a story challenge, which no one liked. It's just pointless filler. And host, you shouldn't think publicity is good. All publicity is good. Because it's not. If you get bad publicity, no one's gonna join your camp. So yeah. But those are really just random nitpicks. Those will barely impact the camp score, cause nitpicks, lol. Now onto the legitimate, actual negatives that actually made this camp worse. Firstly, the server was toxic. I'm not talking about the haha Mike is annoying jokes, but yeah, Mike is annoying. And like Famiko quit due to toxic server, so it was toxic. I think it got better as the camp went on. But like the by far the biggest source of toxicity was Shocks. God damn it, Shocks, so many freaking arguments. However, seconds would have to be Store. Store had that one argument and then proceeded to send Shocks for 10 hours, and yeah, no one likes that. Of course, people are gonna get mad. So yeah, that's the first negative point. The second negative point, there was a cheating scandal in this camp. Now, it's not super major, but well, 2 things happened. First, additionally to that, Sharks used an ult to gain access to spectator chat to also help with the vault. Which, yeah, does warrant the disqualification they got. Chuck absolutely deserved the DQ. However, I feel like if you get DQ'd, you shouldn't just get the opportunity to get brought back. More on that later. Also, there's like the haha store had an ult on the server for like 10 minutes and that got busted so quickly it doesn't matter. That's not an actual negative point. That's just a mess. Now, many of the challenges were tedious. Most of them lasted over a week, with some lasting 2 to 3 weeks, which is a bit long. Unless it's a finale, I don't think a challenge should last that long. That leads us on to the next and probably biggest point, in my opinion. Some of the challenges were completely awful. Now I'm gonna mention 4 of them, which I find to be 5 that I find to be the worst. Starting with the breathing challenge. This challenge gave some people more to do and some people less to do, basically meaning some people had the opportunity for extra stuff, while some people had barely anything to do. Also, the challenge was scuffed overall. I think Diggy even admitted that it's bad. Now, the next dumb challenge, in my opinion, is the poker challenge. Simply, if you do a poker challenge, don't ignore the odds and make quads worth less than like a full house or a flush. Like, come on, you don't do that. You don't. Also, it was a triple limb. Like, it's partially luck based. You don't do partially luck based triple limbs. Anyways, the next challenge I want to mention is Transcension. Like, this challenge had a transition that was pretty bad, and the challenge overall was overcomplicated. The main thing that makes it bad though is that both the limbs from that challenge, double limit final four is kind of dumb, but that's just more of a nitpick. Well, both of those limbs ended on inactivity. Like, that ended on people just not bothering to do the challenge because it's too complicated. So yeah, that's why that challenge sucks. The next challenge I want to mention is Mini Challenge E of the finale, which just was too hard. No one's doing 36 Pokemon Showdown battles. That is just too hard. Don't do that. Now that kind of all pales in comparison, as I would have rated most of those challenges like 3, 2, maybe an occasional 1, but nothing too bad. And then you get to the Vision Challenge. This challenge is freaking horrendous and like the worst challenge I've seen in a camp ever. Basically, they allowed the contestants to make a wish that was 5 words or less. That can be pretty much anything. Yeah, just think about it. It's a bad idea. You could bring someone back, which is unfair. You could make someone debut, which is unfair. You could just ruin people, which is unfair. You could, do anything else that just is completely unfair. You could ruin the entire camp. Like, no, this challenge is horrendous. It's so bad. It's so bad I even made a sheet post about it. Cause no, it's the worst challenge I've seen in a camp. Yes, even worse than the random luck challenges everywhere. Like, those suck, and those would have gotten a 0 out of 10 on my challenge scale. This challenge gets a -1 because it's so bad. It's worse than a luck challenge. Also, the fact that 2 people rejoined unfairly and someone debuted unfairly also makes me mad. 1 minute-long rant later. Yeah, that is the worst challenge ever created. Anyways, the twists were also balanced terribly. First off, screw passive immunity. Also mention that it's passive immunity. Lol. Subject X had way too much power. Like, he could have targeted limbs so easily. Targeted limbs, those gold token effect, really should only be available in the most utter and ludicrous circumstances of doing like 10 things in a row. All that Subject X had to do there was do 3 challenges that he gave them, and none of those missions were barely difficult at all. So yeah, way too easy to target on people. 3 spots to the final 2 also shouldn't be given out, but like, it's super muties, ha ha ha. I'm not gonna mention too much. Also, after the whole thing, that star system, yeah, that sucked. That's all I'm gonna mention. It like lasted 2 episodes. Now, there's one last negative point, which is definitely the host's fault. The 3 final 2 spots. Well, firstly, Gyro didn't earn it, but Kale definitely did earn his spot with that. So yeah, and you don't take away a prize that they earned. Well, what they did is, after they missed the challenge, they said to take away that free finalist status. Like, no! You don't! That's just bullcrap. You should, give people what they earned. Also, you could have just extended the finalist spots. Lol. Yeah, it was way... like, not much was done there to even warrant that. Seriously. So, what is the verdict? Well, I had some fun with the camp. However, the host made some terrible decisions, which completely ruined the camp experience. While yes, when season 1 ended I said this was my favorite camp, yeah, that's no longer the case, as some of these decisions are just baffling. Ultimately, Pokelab 2020 disappointed massively, and for first camp, did some stuff that, despite, being a first camp, is pretty bad. The final rating? A 4 out of 10.